our parabolas. So the key was graphing them. To me, the key is graphing them so we can really get that visual understanding. I'm going to run through this. This was, write the standard form of the parabola that has a focus at 6, 0 and an asymptote at, or sorry, not asymptote, a directrix. I know. I said we're going over it. Just so that way we can get a reminder of what it was. So my focus was at 6, 0. My directrix was at x equals -3. And I'm gonna get quickly to the point where people get lost. So you need to make sure that you're tuned in so you don't get lost. It's just a few steps, and whenever it's the second we hit a few steps, people get lost. So I can't on a minimum day, and I need to get through it. I'm so sorry. That's why it's being recorded, Shayla, and you can watch it as a video and rewind it later. It's a post on Google Classroom. So, yep. So here's my directrix. X equals -3. There's my focus at 6, 0. So the distance between the directrix and the focus is 9. The distance between these is 9. So I find the halfway point, which was 4.5. So there's the halfway point. 4.5 away. 4.5 away from either point. It's 4.5 away from this, and it's 4.5 away from that. So that gives me my vertex at 1.5, 0. And we can see we have a right opening parabola. So the only thing we need, because this is our H and K, the only thing we needed was our A, which is what I kind of rushed through at the end there, and it's where people get the most lost. We need our A. And if we don't recall from our picture, this distance, that's hideous, this distance is 1 over 4A, but it's also 4.5. And so we need to get A. So 1 over 4A equals 4.5. Two ways to look at this, and they are the same thing. A lot of times when you guys think two processes are different in math, it's actually the same thing. It's just a different way of looking at the same thing. So I put this over 1. We could cross multiply. But also, if I want to ever get rid of a denominator, I can just multiply both sides by that denominator. Those would cancel. 1 equals 4.5 times 4a. And we talked about yesterday, 4.5 times 4 is 18. We divide both sides because we want to get a by itself. Those cancel, and we get a is 1/18. Now we have a, h, and k. We're done. We don't need to mess with p that they bring in later, and we'll talk about that. So our formula, our equation for this parabola is it's right opening, it's horizontal, it's a horizontal parabola, so it's x equals positive 1/18 y minus k, what's my k? 0, squared, plus 1.5, which is my h. Now, y minus 0 is just y, so if you were to see, like if you were to get a multiple choice test, this would not be one of the options, the actual answer, since y minus 0 is just y. The answer would be x equals 1/18 y squared plus 1.5. Yes. I won't mark you wrong if you put that, okay, on a quiz or test, if you do the top one. But on a multiple choice, this won't be one. We understand that you can simplify it, so you should. The reason I like this one is because this one still gives you an h and k value. I like the fact that I can look at it and see a vertex, 0, 1.5, or 1.5, 0. All right. Number 2. I'm going to draw it so I know which way it opens. Once you get comfortable with this, you don't need to draw them necessarily. You can just figure out which way they open. The focus is at 1, 0, and the directrix is at x equals -4. So Samuel, which way will it open? Alexa, sideways, right or left? Open to the right. You can always ask yourself, what side is the focus on to the directrix? And that is the way that the parabola opens. The focus is on the right side of the directrix, so the parabola opens to the right. Because the parabola always opens toward the focus. Right. That can't. Then you won't have a parabola. You'll have a line. So. Alrighty. We good? Yeah. All right. So let's figure out our vertex. It's halfway through. Michael. What's the distance from here to here? 5. So 2.5. So we can either go 2.5 that way from that or 2.5 this way. It doesn't really matter. We get right here. What is that coordinate? So I should put the focus here as 1, 0. What is it? Negative 1.50. That's my vertex. This was my directrix. Okay. So I've got HK. And so how big is 1 over 4a? Michael said it a second ago. Yes, 2.5. Right here, that distance is 2.5, and that's equal to 1 over 4a. Multiply both sides by 4a. Those cancel. 1 equals 10a. So they bring in P in a minute here, I believe on the next section. Am I right or wrong looking at your workbook? Do they bring in P yet?
Yeah, the value of P.
Yeah. So they bring in the value of P. They think kids don't want to solve 1 over 4a, and so they design the new variable, and then if they want a later, you're going to have to solve for it, which is ridiculous. So we'll define P in just a moment. All right, so A is 1/10, so let's go ahead and get our full formula. It's sideways opening to the right, so it's a positive A value. So X equals 1 over 10, Y minus negative 1, minus 0 again. 0 squared minus 1.5. Question, Sydney? I thought you started talking.
I just said Y squared.
Oh.
So we figured out the A if we have 1/10 of A. It's going to be Y minus. So Y that's
Yeah. Well, the Y of the vertex we found.
Oh, okay.
Y minus the Y value of the vertex we found. That's our K. And then once again, and so if it opened to the left, then it would have been a negative 1/10. That's the only difference. So the direction it opens determines the sign, SIGN, in front of the equation. Whether or not it faces to the right or left. So since it's open to the right, that'll be a positive 1/10. If the focus was over here and it opened like that, it would be a negative 1/10. Just like if it was an upright, it would be positive A. If it was like this, it would be negative. Yep. And if the focus is above, if we had the other facing parabola, above it's positive, below it's negative.
Okay. So if the vertex of the Y of the vertex was like 4, it'd be Y minus 4 squared?
Yes. Yes. I don't know. I don't like it when they don't give you like very different problems. These are almost identical between problem 1 and 2. It doesn't help when it doesn't show a bunch. So. You okay, Madeline? You sure? I can go back for just a second. Sure. That doesn't help a blank page. I stared at it. You're good? Okay. All right. 3, write the equation in standard form for each parabola. There's just more of them. Okay.
Wait, but 3 and 4 is kind of different. Because 3 is
Right.
upward parabola.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad they give. But still, they're giving us 2 pieces of information. And this is why I'm teaching it the way I am with the graph. Because now all of a sudden, there's no difference between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're all the same type of problem. Once we graph it, We're looking for the HK in the vertex, and we're looking for the A value. That's it. Looking for the HK. They gave us H and K, didn't they? That was nice of them. That's actually because this one is, and if you don't find it easy, that's okay. You just have to graph it. Okay. Let's look at this without graphing it for a second. They gave us the vertex. The vertex is 0, 0. How far away from the vertex is the directrix? 2. So 1 over 4a equals 2. So we'll get h, k, and a without even graphing it. No worries. So the vertex they gave us. The other one, they gave us the focus and the directrix, so we had to find the vertex, right?
Oh, that's what the S stood for.
Yes. Now they gave us the vertex and the directrix, but now I know the distance between those is 2. So I could just set 1 over 4a equals to 2. But let's graph it anyway. Let's graph it anyway just because it doesn't hurt and it helps those of us who are a little more visual. So the vertex is here. There's my vertex. My directrix is y equals -2. That's a horizontal line through -2. I don't need the focus, but if it asks, where's the focus, where would the focus be? Right above. Yeah, it'd be here, but it'd be the same distance. That's 2. So it's 2, if I wanted to. I don't need that, because it just wants the equation, but I did want to show that you could find it. So is this parabola going to face up or down? Up. I can't cross this line, so it's going to be facing up. So my A value is positive, and as you guys said, this distance is 2, so 1 over 4a equals 2. So let's solve that over here. Yeah, we notice that those same steps are coming up every time, aren't they, Alexa? Multiply both sides by 4a, and then we're going to divide both sides by whatever number we get. Yes. A equals 1/8. H and K are 0, 0. It's a upright parabola, so that's the y equals. So it's y equals A, which is 1/8, x minus 0 squared plus 0, which could be simplified to 1/8 x squared. Yes, Johnny. Because the distance between the vertex and the focus, or the vertex and the directrix, is going to always equal 1 over 4a. That distance always equals 1 over 4a. So that distance here is 2. Okay. What time is this class over on a minimum day? 9:30. Okay, I'm good. We're doing good. I just want to get through all these problems. Is the vertex 0, 0 on each of these?
No. Except for one. You don't know. Number 5 is 6, 0.
Okay, thank good. Well, 6, 0.
No, it's a focus. It's his focus.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So, guys, it's good to draw it just so you know which way it opens, because you got to know whether or not your A value is positive or negative. So, quick drawing. I'm going to make these drawings quicker and quicker. At some point, I might not even use the line tool. The vertex is 0, 0. Focus is 9, 0, yeah. So, which way does this parabola open? The focus is always inside the parabola? So it opens to the right. Right? It's going to, if we want to think about it, okay? The focus is always inside the parabola. So if my parabola's vertex is here, it either opens like this or like this. Which one would have the focus inside of it? It's got to be that one. Okay? So this distance here is 9, so 1 over 4a equals 9. If we, you don't get it? Everything? So, the chart. Okay, So I haven't gone back to the chart, and that's why I teach it in a way that doesn't need it. That chart's provided in most textbooks on like what is everything, right? Let me get through a few more, and then I'll tie it back to the chart. Okay, if I do it right now, I don't want to risk running out of time. Okay?
Yeah, I understand that.
The steps?
I understand what you do, but not why you do it.
So, yeah. I'm going to do an upright parabola right now. So Florian really wants to see how this chart ties in and why what's going on is what's going on. So this is not relating to this problem necessarily. This is going to be just a description of the chart compared to the steps, because we don't want the steps to just mean nothing. So if I have a parabola that goes through this point, right, and I don't know anything about it necessarily, right? I don't know if the parabola looks like this. I don't know if the parabola looks like this, right? I don't know what's going on. And upside down as well. I don't know if the parabola looks like that. Okay? So I'm at a loss. However, if I know the definition and I have that locus of points that's equidistant, the focus is equidistant to the parabola, is equidistant to the directrix, right? Then that tells me something. So if my focus, are you okay that if my focus is here, that would put my directrix here? Are you okay with that? Yes or no? No. So the focus and the directrix are always the same distance from the vertex. Okay? So my focus was 4 away, my directrix is 4 away. Okay? So if my focus was here, my directrix would be here. Okay? That does something. So if I were to say, like, I'm just going to speculate an incorrect parabola, and there's no way that I can just freehand right off the bat a correct parabola for this focus and this directrix, right? If I know this is my focus and this is my directrix, and I'm like, okay, here's my parabola, pick a point on the parabola. I'll pick right here, okay? Is that distance and that distance the same? No, right? Nowhere near the same. So that is not the correct parabola for that focus and that directrix. So it has to be wider, right? So what we end up finding out, I pick here. Okay? Closer, close enough. Maybe, let's go ahead and I'll try one more attempt. Okay? No, now I went too wide. Now I went too wide. Right? But it's going to be somewhere in between there. So by knowing where my focus and my directrix are, I can tell the farther my focus is away from my vertex, the wider that parabola is going to be. The closer my focus is to the directrix, to the vertex, the thinner my parabola is going to be. Okay? And that's what we're determining by doing that. So actually, and let's tie this back to the last two problems. Right? So here, I've got my distance is only 2, correct, between it, and so I ended up a distance of 2 between my vertex and my directrix gave me a vertical compression of 1/8. A vertical compression, go ahead, of 1/8. So in other words, so what happened was my 1/8. So the parabola would have been vertically, so it would have been kind of stretched out a little bit, 1/8, right? Here, my distance is a little further. So what happened? I had to squish it a little more, and what did that do? That'll make it wider, even wider, right? So that distance increased. This one was 2.5. I got 1/10 is my width, right? Which is expanding it, horizontally expanding it, actually, right? here my distance was 2, so only half less. Now I'm only expanding it horizontally by a factor of 8. Right? So that's what these are doing. So good. It's a good question. Does that help tie it together? Okay. I'm hoping. All right, so back to this one. This one's got a gigantic, I mean, this is just going to be so absolutely stretched. Yeah. Well, we didn't finish it. So the vertex is here. The focus is here, right? That's gigantic. So this distance is 9. So 1 over 4a equals 9. It's going to be positive because it opens to the right. So it's going to be x. Oh, let me actually solve for a. Hopefully, if you guys are getting quick at this, what's 9 times 4? 30. It's just going to be 1 over. Yeah, it's just going to be 1 over. Bam, every time, right? That 1 over. So multiplied by 4a. But I don't mind putting the steps. We're just learning it. I can put the steps every time. But if you catch the pattern, that's golden. Okay, so x equals 1/36 y minus 0 squared plus 0. Because the vertex is HK. Which simplifies. What are you doing, Gansky? Why are you doing it, Gansky? Okay. Yeah. What's up? Okay. Go back. Because it's the 0, 0. It's H and K.
So the vertex will have an H and K.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So number 7.
Yeah, I might. So let's do number 5 in 2 minutes, and then I'm going to jump to number 7 because it's just a lot of the same thing. But number 5, at least it opens the other way. No, yeah, it does. So just so we can see that. Yes.
On a Friday.
Yep.
On homecoming weekend.
I'm working the game and chaperoning the dance.
And I'm playing the game. And everything. So I'm doing more than you are.
Not on a daily basis, though,
And
Sydney.
I'm doing the work.
The answer is yes, you have homework. Okay? And considering I'm going to be uploading a homework video of it, you guys can take an hour of your Sunday.
But I got church on Sunday, Mr. Baby.
Okay. So
I got a church convention on Sunday.
I just wrote a note for a student saying that there is homework. I can't go back on my word now.
We'll just let them know. We'll just talk.
All right.
Just tell me first couple days. Yeah. And the other day you just give us homework and us.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got the focus. It is. I've got the focus at -6, 0. I've got the directrix at x equals 6. So where is my, oh, that's annoying. Where's my vertex? 0, 0. It's halfway between. Guys, what's 4 times 6? We're gonna jump a little bit. 24. But it opens to the left, so it's gonna be negative.
Okay, what confuses me?
What's up, man? Okay.
All seniors will be a senior meeting at Wednesday in room 4.
I'll leave it.
You know, money.
Nothing bad.
All seniors are having senior meeting in room 4. Boom.
The 24? Because this distance, too much talking, is 6. Multiply both sides by 4a. Okay? And it's negative because it opens left. It opens left. Okay, just a few more minutes, guys. We need to focus in if we want to understand P. P. So, 3 minutes. I've got to go to this 24. Stop. Nah. So really quick, guys. 4p is just taking the place of a. 4p, like if you look at their formula, 4p simply takes the place of a, right? So in other words, 4p is equal to a. 4p is equal to a. So therefore, right?
Oh, that's what P is. Okay.
So P is equal to 4 times A.
No, no, we don't.
So it's, yeah, P is equal to 1/4 A.
No, P is equal to 4 times A. So like if P is
Well, that doesn't make sense. Okay. You know what I care about P? No. P is out of my vocabulary.
I'll tell you what, because of feelings and there are only 2 minutes left, I won't go over P right now. No homework on the weekend.